Oh, got you. I
Uh-oh.
All right, what a day, what a day. The GOAT, Caitlin Clark, made her return to the basketball floor today. I showed y'all, we got some live clips. I'm gonna show y'all some more. But the important part of this video, Caitlin Clark destroyed the WNBPA, Nneka Aguma-K, Nafisa Collier, who tries to name drop her at her convenience to win people over, Brianna Stewart, the unrivaled co-founders, all these people that's a part of the board that's signing with Project B, and all of this stuff. Caitlin Clark called their asses out today. She said, stop playing games. We need to play.
We have been waiting quite some time to see Caitlin Clark play basketball. Not only take shots and shoot around, but actually go up against something that looks like competition in an actual, I don't know, competitive environment. Not just shoot off a rack, not go 1v air, actually play some basketball.
Caitlin Clark has in effect challenged the WNBA Players Association's current direction. The league's most prominent figure recently spoke openly about those whose strategies might imperil the 2026 season, conveying her message with conviction. As some WNBA board members pursue ventures like Project B and Unrivaled, engaging in exhibition games for minimal gain, Clark vocalized a widespread sentiment: the focus must return to consistent WNBA competition.
And now, the crew has officially arrived for USA basketball camp in North Carolina. We got Caitlin Clark pulling up. We got Caitlin Clark and AB. We got Rakia Jackson, De'Arica Hamby, CC and AB.
This situation transcends mere bargaining tactics, touching upon the very future of women's basketball. The one athlete, consistently drawing large audiences, has signaled to the union that she will not stand by idly as their approach threatens the league's stability. Understanding the specifics of this development reveals its potential to reshape everything. The WNBA and WNBPA have been embroiled in CBA discussions for months. The original October 30th deadline was pushed, now extending to January 9th. Adding 140 days of protracted debate that leaves fans uncertain about a 2026 season. The current situation is complicated. Members of the WNBPA board tasked with representing player interests are concurrently signing agreements with rival leagues. Notably, Nneka Aguma-K, Brianna Stewart, and Nafisa Collier, co-founders of Unrivaled, are also expected to negotiate sincerely with the WNBA. This presents a significant conflict of interest. It raises questions when individuals involved in a competing 3-on-3 league are simultaneously part of negotiations that could delay or cancel the WNBA season. This divergence of interest requires clarification. For a considerable time, fans have sought a powerful voice to address the issue, something beyond prepared union statements or cautious press releases. The moment called for someone truly influential to offer an authentic perspective. Caitlin Clark emerged to fill this void. Having recently recovered from an injury and just returned to the court, she swiftly expressed her disdain for the ongoing drama. At a USA basketball camp, she delivered a pivotal statement, declaring this the biggest moment the WNBA has ever seen, and it's not something that can be messed up. She affirmed the commitment to advocating for deserved rights while emphasizing the necessity to play basketball, which fans crave. To clarify her stance, Caitlin Clark articulated her disinterest in participation in nascent 3-on-3 ventures like Unrivaled or Project B. Her priority is playing WNBA basketball, urging all parties to resolve current issues before jeopardizing the entire enterprise. She further asserted that generating revenue and cultivating market presence depend fundamentally on competitive play. Fans desire to witness the actual product on the court, not just off-season exhibitions or tournaments. A crucial point she raised was the potential for compromise. Suggesting a 3-year CBA instead of a 5-year agreement would allow for earlier renegotiations after the league experiences further growth. Her core message remained, Playing is essential. This reflects a strategic understanding that one cannot improve terms if the foundation for growth is undermined. The WNBA recently concluded its most successful season, boasting soaring ratings, shattered attendance records, and a substantial $2.2 billion TV deal. Yet, the union risks this hard-earned momentum. The league's proposed offer includes a $5 million salary cap, maximum salaries up to $1.5 million, revenue sharing that could push top contracts to $1.2 million, and annual increases tied to league expansion. The WNBPA, however, deems this insufficient. They contend that the revenue sharing model only allocates 10 to 15% of projected league revenue to players. Concerns also include the league's intention to end housing subsidies and potentially move training camp to March. One must question the logic. Is the cancellation of a season justified over issues like housing subsidies when some union figures are involved with leagues that provide no such benefits, playing 3-on-3 in venues with sparse attendance? Caitlin Clark perceives the underlying dynamics. She recognizes her impact on driving the league's current surge in popularity. Her average of over 17,000 fans per game and her role in ESPN's primetime coverage of the WNBA are undeniable factors. She is also pivotal to the $250 million valuations of new expansion franchises. Her message to the union is clear. She will continue to generate revenue and attract spectators, but they must facilitate play. She urges against undermining this critical juncture due to concerns over housing or training camp logistics, when the opportunity exists to build a lasting legacy. An unstated truth is that WNBA board members with conflicting league interests may not desire a swift resolution. Each month, the WNBA season faces potential delays grants more exposure to their independent 3-on-3 league. Every controversy inadvertently provides free promotion for Unrivaled. Consider this: if the WNBA season commenced as scheduled, interest in 3-on-3 basketball in February would likely be minimal. However, without a WNBA season, Unrivaled suddenly becomes the primary platform to observe WNBA players. This isn't merely a negotiation tactic. It risks becoming a calculated maneuver for market dominance, which Caitlin Clark has subtly highlighted. Without directly naming individuals or assigning blame, she made it evident that certain parties at the negotiating table might not be prioritizing the league's overarching welfare. Her remarks were also perfectly timed, delivered at a USA basketball camp amidst other WNBA stars. She, not union officials, offered a candid assessment. The player who demonstrably boosts revenue is advocating for active play. This perspective resonated deeply with fans, igniting social media. Many awaited Clark's input, and she delivered decisively, essentially stating her commitment to the WNBA exclusively, rejecting alternative leagues. This stance significantly pressures the WNBPA. If their most prominent player publicly calls for compromise in play, what justification remains for the union's unwavering position? They can no longer solely rely on the fight for what we deserve narrative when their biggest star emphasizes the importance of playing itself. CBS Sports, in an article addressing the situation, titled it, "The WNBA is undermining its own product again." They underscored that despite billionaires investing $250 million in expansion teams, valuations exceeding $500 million, and a substantial TV deal, players still contend for fundamental respect. However, respect encompasses more than just financial figures. It involves integrity. When union leadership possesses conflicting financial interests, signing with rival leagues while negotiating a CBA, it compromises that integrity. Caitlin Clark grasps a fundamental principle that seems overlooked by the union. Respect is not extracted through force, it is earned by consistently delivering a compelling product. It is achieved by becoming so indispensable that the market has no option but to compensate you fairly. She herself declared this the biggest moment in WNBA history, urging against jeopardizing it. She is correct, this is a pivotal juncture where the league either capitalizes on unprecedented momentum or undermines its own progress. The WNBA's proposal, though imperfect, a $5 million salary cap remains modest by NBA standards, and 10-15% revenue sharing is below player aspirations, is far superior to no season at all. Caitlin Clark understands this. She advocates for playing this season, recognizing it as a due to the league's founders, its newly engaged fan base, and its future prospects. In contrast, certain WNBA board members appear preoccupied with their 3-on-3 league, personal agreements, and strategic leverage. While they may be focusing on short-term tactical maneuvers, Clark's approach is more strategic. Her chess move is simple: play the season, excel, and return to the bargaining table with enhanced leverage. To secure a superior deal in 3 years, the next 3 seasons must be so exceptionally successful that the league is compelled to significantly increase salaries. True respect is earned by proving invaluable to the point where your absence would compromise the entire operation. This is Caitlin Clark's core argument. She pledges to fill arenas and boost ratings, ensuring collective benefit, but stresses that this hinges on actual play. Potential alone doesn't generate income, nor do canceled seasons yield revenue. It's also vital to acknowledge that Caitlin Clark's dependence on the WNBA is less than the league's dependence on her. She possesses options, including playing abroad for higher pay or pursuing lucrative endorsements and media roles, potentially stepping away from basketball entirely. Yet, her desire to play in the WNBA demonstrates loyalty and commitment to the sport. Her initiative to seek compromise while union leadership appears entrenched speaks volumes about who genuinely prioritizes the league's longevity. Another sobering reality is that most WNBA players lack the widespread recognition of Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, or Paige Buckers. They rely on the WNBA far more than the league relies on them. A canceled season would deprive most players of their primary income. Caitlin Clark recognizes this, advocating for those without her platform or influence. She emphasizes the necessity of play for all, understanding that a canceled season disproportionately harms role players. Union leadership, conversely, may be more insulated, with unrivaled earnings and endorsements providing a buffer if the season is delayed. Meanwhile, many ordinary players face uncertainty about their livelihoods. This disparity amplifies the impact of Caitlin Clark's statements. She highlights a disconnect between the union's leadership and the broader player interests. She articulates what less prominent players cannot voice without jeopardizing their careers. The league has offered annual pay raises tied to growth, precisely what players have requested to be linked to revenue. However, the union maintains it's insufficient. At some point, one must ask what an acceptable outcome would entail. Currently, it appears no specific figure satisfies the union, suggesting a strategy of prolonged negotiations. Caitlin Clark expresses her impatience with this. She noted the approaching deadline of January 9th, warning that without a deal, training camp and the season itself are at risk, jeopardizing all prior achievements. Her proposed solution of a shorter 3-year CBA rather than 5 would allow for earlier renegotiation if the league's growth trajectory continues, potentially leading to even better player deals. This constitutes a pragmatic compromise. However, compromise necessitates concessions from both parties, and the WNBPA currently seems unwilling to yield. Their demands include maximal salaries, comprehensive revenue sharing, housing subsidies, later training camps, among other benefits. Caitlin Clark, conversely, suggests that while all these aims are valid, playing now is paramount for the fans, for the league's historical figures, and critically for its future viability. The juxtaposition is striking. The player with the most significant bargaining power is the one willing to compromise, while those with conflicting financial agendas appear to be obstructing progress. This situation points to a fundamental flaw within the union structure. Clark's frustration is evident in her remarks about educating herself, acknowledging the complexity but implying it's being unnecessarily convoluted. She is right. At its core, the issue is straightforward. The league offers unprecedented increases, players seek more, and the logical path is to find common ground to ensure basketball is played. Instead, union representatives discuss principles and leverage as time dwindles. Caitlin Clark also made a statement that should deeply concern the WNBPA, her emphasis on the importance of playing basketball for the fans. This highlights the fan experience, not union talking points or negotiation leverage. Ultimately, if fan engagement wanes, all other aspects become irrelevant. Even the most favorable CBA is meaningless without an audience to generate revenue. The WNBPA currently enjoys a substantial, active, and expanding fan base. Yet, audiences are capricious. Prolonged delays or a canceled season could lead to disengagement, causing momentum to dissipate. Caitlin Clark recognizes this reality the union seemingly does not. She directly connected playing the game and delivering the product to fans' desires as the mechanism for market growth and revenue generation, rather than holding the product hostage. Furthermore, consider the repercussions of a canceled 2026 season. Expansion teams, having invested $250 million, would hold stagnant assets. TV networks with $2.2 billion deals would face empty programming slots. Sponsors would withdraw. Most significantly, the league's momentum would collapse. Casual fans drawn by Caitlin Clark would disappear, media attention would vanish, and the burgeoning energy around women's basketball would dissipate. This is the magnitude of what's at stake. Caitlin Clark, holding the microphone, appears to be the sole individual grasping this. Her focus extends beyond the immediate negotiation. She considers the next decade, striving to establish something enduring. The WNBPA, in contrast, seems intent on winning the current battle. Caitlin Clark is strategizing for the entire war, understanding that sometimes securing the larger victory means conceding minor points in immediate skirmishes. This demonstrates strategic acumen and leadership. Moreover, her public stance places the union in an untenable position. If they continue to prolong negotiations after their biggest star publicly advocated for compromise, they risk appearing inflexible and prioritizing self-interest over the sport. Should they relent and accept a deal, they would need to explain why Clark's intervention prompted a change of heart. In either scenario, they have lost control of the public narrative. Clark has, without overt effort, outmaneuvered them. This is the influence of genuine star power. Caitlin Clark doesn't need to engage in political maneuvering or carefully craft her words. She articulates clear truths, and her credibility ensures widespread attention. Meanwhile, the union has sought to leverage her name in their negotiations, with figures like Nafisa Collier invoking her popularity. However, when Clark actually spoke, her alignment was with playing basketball, not necessarily their specific strategy. This presents a significant setback. Months spent attempting to utilize a star's influence for negotiation, only to have that star publicly dissent from the strategy, represents a considerable misstep. Looking ahead, this development carries profound implications. If the WNBPA fails to secure a deal by January 9th, Caitlin Clark's comments could provide the league with justification for alternative actions, such as using replacement players. Her assertion, "We need to play, the fans deserve it," would serve as powerful evidence. Should the union strike or walk away, the league could credibly claim their biggest star supports playing, even if the union does not. This grants the league significant leverage. Caitlin Clark's quote, "We need to play basketball," can be widely disseminated across advertising, press releases, and social media. When the league's face advocates for playing and the union appears to obstruct it, public sentiment is likely to favor the league. The WNBPA has effectively lost the public relations battle. In a single press conference, Caitlin Clark reframed the entire narrative. The conflict is no longer perceived as players versus owners, but rather fans and players against a potentially misaligned union. This is an uncomfortable reality for some. The union may not be acting solely in the best interests of its members, but rather prioritizing the agenda of its leadership. Players desire to play, to be compensated, and to build upon recent momentum. Union leadership, however, might be focused on asserting a point, demonstrating leverage, and perhaps benefiting their personal ventures. Caitlin Clark exposed this dynamic without resorting to specific names or direct accusations. She simply spoke an undeniable truth, and everyone understood the implicit target. This is the power of her influence. She doesn't need to engage in games or politics. She states facts, prompting a scramble for reaction, and react they must. The WNBPA cannot ignore this. Their most prominent player has publicly disagreed with their strategy. They face a choice: double down and appear disconnected, or pivot and risk seeming weak. Caitlin Clark didn't just issue a statement, she forced a decisive moment. She accelerated the timeline, making continued delays untenable, all while maintaining a reasonable, mature, and focused demeanor. This is a masterclass in leadership, utilizing a platform not for self-promotion or political gain, but to articulate essential truths when most needed. The WNBPA has witnessed a shift in power. The older guard favors drawn-out negotiations and tactical leverage. The new guard, embodied by Clark, prioritizes playing basketball and building for the future, and this new approach has prevailed. Ultimately, the league cannot thrive without its stars, and currently there is only one star influential enough to steer the conversation. She has made her thoughts unequivocally clear.